Hi everyone, and welcome to today's Sheffield Museums Live. Now today we are at the Millennium Gallery, where we're going to be taking a virtual tour of the latest exhibition to open here, which is John Hoyland, The Last Paintings. And we are joined by Sam Cornish and Patterson Kelly from the John Hoyland studio, who curated this wonderful exhibition. Now this exhibition is open now, so if you would like to come and visit it, please do. And all our sites are free, however we have been hugely affected by the pandemic and being closed for such a long time. So if you are able to donate, we are very, very grateful for any donations, either when you're on site or you can donate online at museums-sheffield.org.uk/donate. And if you have any questions or comments or enjoy the tour and want to let us know, please do pop that in the Facebook comments box below as well. So without further ado, I think we will head over to Sam and Wiz now to begin the virtual tour.
Hello and welcome to John Hoyland, The Last Paintings, curated by myself, Sam Cornish, and with Patterson Kelly. This exhibition marks the 10-year anniversary of John Hoyland's death and includes paintings from the last 8 years of his life. It's really great to be able to show these paintings in the city where Hoyland was born and brought up. In these years, Hoyland began to confront his own mortality. Many close friends died and he himself suffered increasing ill health. The paintings were an opportunity for him to think about what lies beyond the end of life, but they are not really about death as such. They are much more about life itself. They are not melancholy images, rather they are defiant or celebratory or exhilarating. And this really is one of the centerpieces of the show. It is Hoyland's elegy for Terry Frost, and Terry Frost was a very close friend of his and a fellow abstract painter who died in September 2003, and Hoyland completed the painting a few weeks after Frost's death. Spirals and circles and orbs and vortexes are some of the key motifs in Hoyland's late paintings. And here in Elegy for Terry Frost, he's made a sort of spiralling vortex in red, black, yellow and white, which are quite unusual colours, certainly in this combination for Hoyland, but were very much associated with Frost's own art. In the book that accompanies the exhibition, Mel Gooding suggests that the sort of turquoise emerald wash at the back of the painting might relate to the seas around Frost's home in Newlyn in Cornwall. One of the really interesting things to think about in this painting, which sort of is a key to the rest of the exhibition, is the sort of opposition of this kind of sun-like spiralling orb and the kind of shadowy presence above it. And in one way you might think about, particularly as we know about the connection to Frost and his death, and we might think about the orb as relating to life, a sort of positive presence, and the shadowy form above suggesting absence. But then if you look closer, you can see that the spiral contains a kind of black hole in the middle, and the shadowy form above is itself a kind of presence. And so really Hoyland has sort of reversed what looks like initially a clear opposition of absence and presence. And it's that kind of ambiguity which he exploits again and again throughout the paintings in the exhibition, which kind of gives them their kind of emotional resonance. So life with death, death with life. And I think that for Hoyland, it's really clear that even as he was contemplating mortality, he thought that life was wonderful. Life was there. And I think we can see it in the paintings. Okay, so where should we go now?
Well, Hoyland was born in 1934, and he was the son of a tailor. His mother encouraged him into his interest in art from a very young age. He studied at the local art college from the age of 11, and then he went on to Sheffield College of Art, and finally he studied at the Royal Academy Schools in London when he was in his 20s. This painting, Night Sky, is a reference to the artist Vincent van Gogh, who John had a lifelong admiration for. He discovered Van Gogh's work when he was at Sheffield Art College. In the college library, he came across a book with the well-known works Starry Night and Cafe at Night. He and his fellow student friend, Brian Fielding, would wander the streets of Sheffield talking about art. And Hoyland once said he saw Starry Night on every street corner. This painting is a really very surreal and otherworldly work. This beautiful sort of cosmic blue is punctured by these quite stark stars. And in the centre, there is this sort of lonely void. And this swirling night really sort of draws you in. And this painting is entitled The Swoop. John started using more figurative forms in his previously abstract work, and these semi-representational images, which were often birds, trees, suns, fed more and more into his work as time went on. He uses these emblems to describe the human condition, the sort of freedom and frailty of what it is to be human. In this instance, you see this bird-like form, this sort of essence of birdness, is indicating this kind of calamitous desire of the human. Here, like Icarus, flying too close to the sun, only to be swallowed up by the sea. He was influenced by Miro in reintroducing the semi-figurative into his work. Miro used to walk on the beaches collecting bits of wood and any little objects and forms that interested him. Hoyland took Polaroids. It could be cracks in the pavement, leaves on the ground, and many of the forms in his Polaroids later fed into his work.
So this is the last painting in the exhibition and the last painting that Hoyland made. It's called Moon in the Water, and it was completed in March 2011, 3 or 4 months before he died. It's the final painting in his series, The Mysteries, where lots of the imagery from his present in the previous paintings, such as Swoop that we just saw with the falling bird, had sort of almost completely disappeared, and they're these very almost empty but never quite empty images. The title Moon in the Water comes from a poem by the 19th century Zen master called Gizan, and it's an example. It was in a book on Zen that Hoyland owned, and it was an example of a so-called death poem, which Buddhist masters would write to give their disciples guidance after their death. And you can see why that would be a resonant idea for a painter who was very conscious that his own life was coming to an end. So the poem.
Coming and going, life and death, 1,000 hamlets, 1,000,000 houses. Don't you get the point? Moon in the water, blossom in the sky.
And what I think is particularly sort of resonant about Hoyland's choice of Moon in the Water from the final two lines of the poem is that blossom in the sky would be a really evocative way of describing many of the kind of garlands of multicoloured marks, the sort of multicoloured strands of paint that exist in lots of the other paintings in the exhibition, such as Dominion, which is right next door to Moon in the Water. And so in a way, him choosing Moon in the Water but not Blossom in the Sky sort of makes you aware of the sort of conspicuous absence in Moon in the Water of those types of marks and of their kind of more overtly sort of celebratory kind of feel. So we thought it was a really beautiful way to end the exhibition, and we're really happy it's the first time it's been exhibited, so it's great to exhibit it here in Sheffield.
Thank you for watching our virtual tour of John Hoyland, The Last Paintings. I hope you've enjoyed hearing a little bit more about John Hoyland, the artist, and some of his paintings on display in this exhibition as well. Do keep an eye out for our other talks, tours and behind the scenes virtual events we've got coming up as part of the Sheffield Museum's live programme. I hope you've enjoyed watching and hopefully see you all in the next one. Bye bye.